Hey everybody, how is it going? I tell you what, we have a locksmith business that we're going to be looking at today that just might be close enough to where we're sitting right here that maybe the Lockfather is going to buy. I don't know. Let's find out. All right, Dad, hey, welcome back.
Thanks.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah.
Haven't seen you for a few days. Everything good?
Oh, yeah. All good. Too hot, but good.
That's how we like it.
That's it.
Or minus the hot part, but
Right.
yeah. Okay, so Dad, I got a business I want to talk to you about today.
Okay.
This business it's 30 plus year established and a 30 plus year established business.
Yeah, that's good.
And it's close enough that maybe you might be wanting to take a closer look. So,
Okay.
as a matter of fact, Mom was in this city just a few weeks ago.
Oh, it must have been Monroe, Washington.
It is Monroe,
okay.
Washington. So, perfect. So, hey, let's go ahead. Let's dive in. Let's talk about it. Let's see what we think here. Let me scroll down and let's talk about it. The business description is: we are very excited to present for your consideration a 30-plus-year-old business with a solid reputation and a lot of room for growth. The business has been great for the husband and wife owners for decades. Health reasons make them eager to move out of state to enjoy retirement. The asking price is close to just 1 times the discretionary earnings plus the inventory. We believe an SBA lender will be happy to fund this acquisition. But for this price point, we are seeking a cash offer and a fast close. Over $20,000 in assets are included, including the van, and over $90,000 in inventory. We believe this business will sell very quickly. They perform all the locksmith needs, from rekeying commercial to residential locks, cut keys, and gain entry to your home or vehicle when you're locked out. They also sell safes and other security items. When asked what they would do if they were keeping the business, they responded, expand to electronic key fobs and additional key cutting machines and card reader systems. They refer these services to other companies. They are admitted old school, but it works for them and has resulted in solid revenues for decades. Expansion into new technologies can further increase their already solid market share. Some digital marketing may also boost revenues. Currently, there are no digital advertising like Google or Meta ads. This seems to be a great company because if I need a locksmith, I am immediately going to Google one. Some things will be available upon opening escrow and an earnest deposit. It's not often we get this combination of solid earnings, clean financials, and a motivated seller to act fast. Now, I'm going to hop into the rest of the details. Do you have any quick things that come off?
Well, 30 years, they should be doing pretty well.
Yeah.
You know, steady income.
Yep.
And
does it surprise you, old
right.
school?
No.
Nope.
Because it's hard to transform the older people into the newer technology.
Yep. So, they do have a leased location, which is 1,600 square feet.
Mm-hmm.
It says they're, in the description, it says they're a mom and pop's operation, but it does list 3 employees. So I'm guessing the husband, the wife, and one other person, maybe?
Well, I would think that would be 3 separate employees. Because they've already said they got them,
Okay. So yeah, hard to say on that. So they were established in 1993.
Okay.
The rent for their leased space is $1,850 a month. It doesn't say if that's triple net or what, but let's just go with it. Their gross revenue is $356,000. Okay.
Okay.
Their cash flow is $78,000.
Okay.
Okay. And then, of course, there's $90,000 of inventory, and then the van and the fixtures and all that stuff, $20,000. So it tells me there may be one van And that's what makes me think that there's not 3 separate staff members.
Right.
Right? The husband and the wife and 2 people sit in the store while one's out. Right? Especially with $356,000 in total revenue, right?
Okay.
So the asking price is $200,000, and is what they're essentially saying, right? As you're taking the cash flow and the inventory, and then the fixtures, they're putting it all in, they're getting to that number. Mm-hmm. What are your immediate thoughts on this?
Well, I would think they would have done more within that many years, 200. But that, it seems very reasonable. It really does.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you're looking at about 30,000 actually about a month in revenue.
Right.
Right. And you can see, so with, let's call it 350 gross and then 78 net, right? They're doing a decent amount of labor in that.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Especially if they're doing rekeys. I mean, that's all pretty much labor.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about the inventory here, 90,000. There's something that jumps right out to me when I hear that number. I'm curious kind of what you think.
No, let's hear what you have to say.
I mean, and I think, and this is the deal. All of us want to value our inventory of what we bought it for at the time we bought it.
Right.
Or when you buy out some assets of a defunct locksmithing business, it's like, is this old Weiser knob, did it cost the company who originally bought it $18 probably? Right. What's it worth today?
$1.
Exactly, right?
Right.
And the other big thing is the quality of inventory is more important than the quantity of inventory.
Right.
Right. Now, if you have 100, 200,000 KW1 and SC1 keys, it's like, okay, like I know I'm gonna be able to sell that, and I'm gonna be able to make a lot of money on that.
Right.
But if you have 200,000
Y1s, forget it.
Y1s, yeah. Very true. Right. And so it's one of those that the quality of it is more important than the quantity. Right. And I think if we were to go through even one of your shops, you have a lot of, let's call it, there's A, B, C inventory, A being high movers, C being very slow movers. Right. You probably have 80% C. Right. Right? Yep. So on paper, and I'm not even saying that's a bad thing, but if you're a buyer, are you wanting to buy inventory that you may not sell for 5 years or longer?
Right. No, you don't.
No. Are you thankful, though, when it's there?
Yes.
Absolutely. And are you going to make high margins on it?
Yes.
Yes. But when it comes to buying the business.
Yeah, that's...
So that's what's kind of going through my thoughts, but I'd like to hear your thoughts on that.
No, I agree. I mean, A moves quickly, B somewhat, and C is dogs, Yeah. Everybody has dogs, Yep. It really doesn't sound that bad of a price for... depends. Is the truck old? Is there 200,000 miles, And it's going to need a new truck. You just never know. The equipment's old, most likely, because, it doesn't do automotive. So it's hard to say, because I didn't see any pictures.
No, there's no pictures.
You're right, because they want you to inquire.
And it tells me, too, with $20,000 of equipment, essentially, including a van and stuff, it's probably some older equipment.
Yes, I would think, because you can buy a Ventura. Yeah. And look how much one of those costs.
So when you hear $90,000 of inventory, in your mind, given all that we said, what are you thinking the value of the inventory is to you? Now, of course, they don't list
maybe
any
20.
of that.
I mean, to be honest.
20, maybe 20.
Right. Maybe.
So now is what I want to do, that we kind of hashed it out and talked about it, and it seems like a pretty decent price. I mean, I'm wanting to be like, okay, the 78,000 1 year of earnings, not bad. Right. You get the inventory and the fixtures down to 50 or something, and you're paying 130 or something for the business. Is probably a really good deal at that point.
It would be.
And one thing I want to bring up that I really like they bring up is the SBA. Yes. Right. So you get the 7A loans on that.
And the way the guy wrote his ad up, or the realtor or whoever did a very good job.
Yeah.
Because that makes it more appealing.
Yes, except for they should be listing key inventory items, and what the van is.
Right. They should.
I mean, if they tell you it's a 1994 Dodge van with 280,000 miles on it, tell me what you think.
It's worth nothing. Really.
I gave an example of one that he had that pretty much just blew up and died.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So when it comes to the financing, I want to kind of talk about this for a minute. Kind of get your thoughts here, right? So if we're saying like roughly $7,000 a month of profit on about $30,000 a month of revenue. Mm-hmm. If you were to go get a loan or whatever, right? Like you got to make sure, right, you have $7,000 that you're living on. Right. And so you got to make sure
you can pay that loan.
That you can pay that loan and still survive, right? And so the cool part is they brought up the SBA, and you get, what is it, a 7A loan or whatever. You can get it split over, I think it's 20, 25 years. Right. And so, and pretty attractive interest rates. I think it's cool they bring that up because that's a great option, right? You're going to have to put, what is it? 10% down, I think.
The only problem with SBA, usually if you own a home, you have to sign it over, as a backup. Not always.
Oh, yeah, on a 7A, I think, you're going to have to. But I don't know. I mean, isn't the most honest thing we can say in small business is that when it comes to bank lines of credit, whatever, you're personally guaranteeing it.
They own you, right.
Right?
You can't get out of it, so you're correct.
To some level,
right,
you're on the hook, right?
Right.
But so I think, just making sure that you can get a price that is good and then a payment that allows there to be the ups and downs, right? Because it's probably not $7,000 a month. It's probably 5 some and 10 others, or 3 some and 12 others, right?
And sometimes 2, and that's it. Yeah. You just never know. So whenever people go into buying a business, hopefully they have a little set aside instead of just going, well, I'll just get the SBA and you always got to have, hopefully, that's why I tell everybody, you always need to save some, and don't depend on all of it to use, but a portion to purchase a company.
Yeah. So if we could, let's kind of go through a quick pros and cons list of this. So when you're thinking of the pros of this business, kind of tell me what they are.
Money, money, money. You can make a lot. Depends how hard you want to work. That's the upside. The downside is you got bills.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to go buy a new cell phone or new, key machine. You can't afford to pay for that completely. You have to figure that into that $3,000 to $5,000 to $7,000 a month. So
I mean, come on now. Hey, you're talking to a guy who sells key machines here.
Yeah,
come on
I'm a guy
now.
who buys a lot. But it sounds like a good deal. It really does.
Yeah, I mean, it's been established since '93.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing the basic locksmithing stuff, old school, right? So someone with more familiar with technology and the other stuff.
Can expand that beyond belief.
Absolutely.
Especially over in an area like that.
Yeah, and talk to me a minute about Monroe. Like, I don't know much about it. Like, is it a bigger area?
It's north of Seattle. Like,
north enough where you wouldn't service Seattle at all? Or you just kind of be in your own area?
Well, you're probably your own area, but we travel quite a bit. So
yeah, that's a good point.
It's still a lot of people compared to here.
That's a good point. So now with all of this being said, I'm going to start or end this episode and how it started.
Okay.
I mean, is it close enough and is there enough meat on the bone here for the Lockfather to be like, hey?
It's only, 5-hour drive. It's close enough. But I'd have to stay over there for a while, and I don't think I'd want to do that at this age, But it seems very tempting.
Okay, fair enough. Now, if someone were to call you, and I want to end it with this last thought. If someone were to call you and be like, hey, Pete, I'm looking at actually wanting to buy this.
Right.
Based on all this information, like how much are you offering? Now, of course, we don't have all the details, but the details you do have, and the guy's like, hey, I'm getting ready to walk in to this meeting. This guy or gal's like, hey, what
So he's basically asking $200,000.
Yep.
Plus inventory, or that included?
Includes.
Yeah. First of all, I'm a negotiator. I'd never pay the complete price they want. Okay.
I wish I had a piece of paper because I want to write down what I think you're going to say and show it to the camera.
Right off, I probably cut it in half, if not a little lower. But that's fine.
So offer 100?
Yeah.
Or a little lower. And I was honestly thinking my number was 70.
Yeah. Well, mine was more like 85. But you got to take in always the equipment, and we got a service truck, and of course you go out and do a lot in that service truck. So if you got to go, have to replace that within 6 months, that's $30,000 to $50,000 minimum.
Mm-hmm.
Can you afford to do that taking over a business?
Yeah.
I mean, trucks are a lot. Ours break down all the time. They have a lot of miles, but you can't really go buy a new one because,
That's a good point, right? So you have $7,000 you're working with to run the business and, for your own salary and everything else.
Insurances, right? And everything else.
Insurance. And so it's one of those that if you have to go get a van, how much is a new van a month? Or let's just say a used van. I mean, probably $500-$600 a month.
Probably.
Something like that, right? And so it's easy, and then you have your loan, right? So it's easy to grab that $7,000 a month.
And dwindle it way down.
Dwindle it right down.
Yep.
So, but yeah. And of course, the other thing we haven't brought up, we'll bring up just for a moment on this one, is of course, like the training and all the other stuff.
How much, right. So. Absolutely. I'm surprised the person what works for him, unless it's a family member, doesn't want to take it over.
Mm-hmm.
But again, if it was a family member, you'd get a payment to the people that own it every month to make it easy to transfer and, but we know how stuff like that can work too. Thanks, Dad or Mom or Uncle or Aunt, I can't afford to pay you.
Yeah.
But I'm making good money.
Yeah. And how many of these situations do we know of, outside of the locksmithing that
fails all the time.
Fails all the time.
All the time.
All the time. But
then they get something back what has no value because they've run it into the ground or sold off stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's the truth.
Mm-hmm.
But all right, everybody. Well, hey, Dad, thanks for coming on, for talking about it. And of course, we would love to know what you think and your thoughts in the comments below. The Lockfather and I look forward to reading those.
Yep.
Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Well, I guess this is the end of the video, and it's time for you and I to part ways until next time. But hey, before you go, I really do want to make sure that you know that when you comment on our videos and you include the hashtag Lockboss, you automatically get hooked up to win cool stuff that we give away live here on YouTube every Tuesday. So we'd love to have you join us. We'd love to have you comment, and I look forward to reading them soon.